You see what I'm saying? Yeah, he running shit. You know what I'm saying? But as he confronts it, he's trying to avoid it altogether. So that means he's actually doing the Zionist work as they did before when they invaded the spot and had wars going on there between the Ottoman Turks, the Africans. Mostly, I believe it was between the Africans driving the African people off the land. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And then you might have the Arabs that swoop in who were there before them, probably. You know what I'm saying? And you have other races of people coming into Africa trying to cut up. This is how you see the Dutch was in South Africa. You see? You know, if South Africa was of African people, how did whatever his name is, Botha or whatever his name was, the Dutch idiot, end up in South Africa ruling? How did that happen? Hmm? You see? There's no way that should have ever happened. South Africa should have never allowed them in. So, however they got in there, they should have fought them out. But now we see it where for months Netanyahu has, you know what I'm saying, gingerly balanced these, I guess, competing imperatives or whatever, imperatives by refusing to even contemplate a permanent ceasefire. You see? A permanent ceasefire. As he blamed Hamas, you see? You keep blaming other people saying Hamas, you know what I'm saying, disillusional demands for the colleagues of previous rounds of negotiation, but after the U.S. President Joe Biden, publicly outlined Israel's latest ceasefire proposal on Friday. You know what I'm saying, and that could lead to a permanent truce, and which Hamas, you know what I'm saying, may be prepared to accept. Netanyahu is now out of time. You know what I mean? It needs to be a permanent ceasefire because he has no right there. You know what I'm saying? He's this square back, bounce head looking clown, called Netanyahu, ain't no more than an old, washed up, gargan, Zionistic, cultic, you know what I'm saying, in more ways than one Luciferian blood sucking, you know what I'm saying, clown. He's not what he said is, and Exodus proved he's not what he said is. And if you notice that when the book was written, it also starts off with putting them at the head of the table as far as a race that's supposed to be superior in our shapes and forms. You know what I'm saying? That is kind of like retarded because there is no way that you're looking at this group of people and you see them as any superiority over the black man and the black woman and the black man in all ways, you know what I'm saying, in any part of this planet. You know what I'm saying? It's just that they seem to have these power of guns, bombs, and all kinds of crazy inventions and all kinds of nasty shit, handy shit they do. You know what I'm saying? But black people have to start to prepare the ground, you know what I'm saying, and start to lay the foundation of protection for our people and make sure that the growth and the prosperity and much of the chaoticness is driven out. You know what I'm saying? Because we notice that much of the chaoticness that's in our people leads over into many crazy things, like in Sierra Leone. You know what I'm saying? In many other countries, you know what I'm saying? Where they could just grab a woman off the street, going to school, your daughter, have sex with her all day and shit like that when they choose and shit like that. A lot of that seems like some kind of Arabic chaotic mind frame in itself, and many other practices that needs to go away. You know what I'm saying? And even the gang killing and gang this and gang that and all that different bullshit must be washed away because that's just traveling the road of evilness in itself. So when you see people like Netanyahu, butt head looking back, no flat back, deformed looking head looking character, you know what I'm saying, over there doing the bullshit he doing, you know what I'm saying, that's because they have chosen to go around the world and drive this book in people's head, or this concept of a God that is not real in itself. It's more like an imaginary friend that you hope to see one day, that you're screaming to, that you will never see. So you're screaming to something that might not even or will or have never existed in that form. You see what I'm saying? So this is why he's able to get away with it, because the people in the world believe something that has no bearing to the truth as to what he's saying, that his race is the chosen people closest to this particular God. You know what I mean? And people have to start looking at that. And then people will say, well, all people are. If they convert, repent, get baptized, you know what I'm saying, go to the circus and get hypnotized, you know what I'm saying? Hypnotized, you know, all that kind of foolishness. So, you know what I mean? You shouldn't have to do none of that in order to understand, you know, the creation in which yourself. The same thing if you get sick, you're gonna get sick. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing if you break your leg, you broke your leg. You know what I'm saying? All this superficial, oh, God came and saved you and all this. Why you keep doing that, I don't know. Because that is not truth in itself. Because if you get sick and don't go to the hospital, you know what I'm saying, and it's a very terminal illness, you're probably going to die. Because you choose to say God is going to come and save you. You know what I'm saying? So you preparing to see God, you know what I'm saying, after you dead. So you preparing to see God in a dream world after you're dead and gone. That doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, the wicked sit up here on planet Earth, and all the days of their life, they get all the riches, the goodie, the glory, the secret societies, the deep state, the big mansions up in the hill doing witchcraft and blood sucking and shit, and all kinds of stupid shit, and they could do whatever they want and talk about really and all this type of stuff in Beverly Hills and carry on, and everybody wants to follow that same lead. You know what I mean? Nobody's in that bullshit at all. It should be a normal understanding of life for everybody on planet Earth. No matter what choose the life you choose to be, whether you want to be a farmer, whether you want to be a police officer, whether you want to work for the fire department, whether you want to work for government, whether you want to be the president of the United States. But to let people like this idiot here, Netanyahu Jackass Yahoo, and this book that y'all so dwell in, you know what I'm saying, and not looking into any of the scientific facts in itself, has clearly been brainwashed into believing that these people are the 144,000 Israelite Jews are God's people from biblical time. That is not so. It's a lie. You know what I'm saying? And there is no reason that black people, if you are black, should have a white Jesus in your church. Because you know full well that your people were here hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years, before any other race of people were either grafted, invented, or came along. You know what I'm saying? So we have to start to look at that from a better perspective, because the book is claiming ancientness in which the writing came from. But that's impossible. You know what I'm saying? The writing that they have could not be ancient enough to only put them in the driver's seat. And everybody else in the second rate seat, and in their book, they consider people as cattle. In many of their books, all you see how people is cattle and all kinds of stupidness like that. Because over the years, people have not paid attention to what it is that was put into their head in the first place, that is put into your children's head in the second place, from generation to generation. over a long distance of time. You know what I'm saying? So we have to stop giving glory to people like this, who is no more than a destroyer of our planet, our earth, and people in itself, and talking about they ain't gonna choose no thing. So Trump can't travel to these 38 countries now that he's a convicted felon. Convicted felon for what? When Joe Biden and his son chunked up the Ukraine war in affiliation with Zelensky and the criminal organization, he's done many other things besides that. You just still only see Donald Trump on the 34 convictions that you say he has. So we see. hmm So we see. Look who up there waving with Creep Joe Biden, the glorious man that never committed no crime. And blame him. See how the demon Democrats keep the focus going off of them, but never them. Look who's up there waving up there with a stupid ass hat on the head. Maxine Waters suggests Trump supporting domestic terrorism or preparing to listen to him. You know what I'm talking about? Or preparing to start a civil war. Because you exacerbated the same way you exacerbated the war in Ukraine. You exacerbated just like you did in the Gaza Strip. You exacerbated the war the same way we saw at the Capitol Hill riots. You exacerbating all kind of criminal action against Trump and other officials of censorship, but we ain't hearing nothing about the Democrats. Okay. Now she's saying that they're preparing for war. Maxine Waters, Lisa Perrin, blood sucking, crazy behind. You know what I'm saying? They're talking about somebody preparing for war. You know what I'm saying? This is coming under the Washington Examiner coming out from Brady Knox, 11 hours ago, Eastern Standard Time. You know what I'm saying? But we see Maxine Waters, a demon Democrat, you know what I'm saying, blasted Trump's supporters, blasted supporters of Trump, President. I guess she's blasting the supporters who support Trump, the President Donald J. Trump, who she blames for threatening the future of the country. That's a lie. Maxine Waters is lying. He ain't threatening a fucking thing. The threat came from the demon Democrats going all the way back to Bush father, Bill Clinton, and Nixon, all the way up to Bush Jr., you know what I'm saying, Obama, you know what I'm saying, all the way up to creep Joe Biden, and so on and so on. You know what I'm saying? Because there was no threat before they were in office. Same as we have with Anthony Fauci, the killing weasel. You know what I'm saying? They're telling people if they get fired and shit like this and lose their professional job and you squeeze their balls hard enough, they'll want to get the vaccine. So he was forcing people to get sick with something that they didn't even know what they were going to stick with up to today. But we see only what was told based on him saying his science. Never trust another man's science if you can't test the science in itself. It is a very dangerous thing to do. So this is where we see where the medical industry has lost their trust, and now we know for sure what they do. So we have to now watch everything that they do. You know what I'm saying? It's a very damn shame to see the day that came so. But she's saying he threatened the country. Maxine Waters. Oh yes, the black nigger from dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? In an appearance on MSNBC. Walters you know what I'm saying, repeatedly expand. I guess she repeating her little expand on it. You know what I'm saying? As far as we see, you know what I mean? She has repeated and expanded upon the early rhetoric warning of Trump supporting domestic terrorism comment. See how they're switching it to where they're saying now he's supporting domestic terrorism, but you never said that when all the kids were being shot and killed. You never said that when you ramped up the subway. You never said that when you let all kinds of criminals out of prison. You never said that when you let everybody over the border, every criminal that you can possibly think of crossing the border and still coming over. You didn't say none of that when you did any of the things, sneaky shit you do, even when it came down to the pandemic and the vaccine. So you full of shit, and we know we got you. So you know what I'm saying? When she's talking this bullshit, talking about supporting domestic terrorism, y'all were found guilty for paying people to act as terrorism and do terroristical things in order to drive even the word terrorist so strongly home in the United States. You know what I'm saying? And even putting the lives of people and killing millions of people in order to prove your point, in order for you to say, okay, it's all right to go over there and murder 100 billion people. You know what I'm saying? And Trump supporting domestic then comment mass violence after the 2024 election. You know what I'm saying? But if that happens, Maxine Waters, you can kiss your ass goodbye because we know that you orchestrated this shit all the way down the line, even going back to Rick Ross and what took place with Blondin. So we know that you're full of doo-doo then, just like you're full of doo-doo now. You know what I'm saying? But we see here where she is saying, this is Maxine Waters. Listen to this. I am worried that he's so, I guess, divisive or whatever, and that he's taking or he's talking about retribution, I guess, and they're taking and they're talking, he's talking about retribution and they're talking about revenge. You know what I'm saying? I think that that's dangerous. First of all, Maxine Waters, it is dangerous when you do what you do and cause this to happen. This is what I'm talking about. Nobody sees it that way, do they? But it's the same thing when you say that what took place in Vietnam was something that just happened because it just happened when the people were fighting for independence in their own country. And the French came in and backed up tyranny and were killing the people as usual, backing up the tyrant leader on the other half of the same landmass, probably same culture, same race. You know what I'm saying? And the French came in and was killing the people and fighting the war and all this shit. And then somehow America got involved and talking about they were communists, using that old communist shit. And then America goes into the war, and next thing you stay in there for another 60 years of straight war and killing of the Vietnamese people in all ways. And they chumped it up to me in the first place because the crooked leader was in bed with them. You see what I'm saying? And he was doing shit to the people while they probably was raiding and robbing the people of their money and their goods and giving it to foreigners and all kinds of bullshit. He living rich high off the hog. So the people wanted independence to separate from him and get independence of their own so they could have their own thing and not be ruled by each one side. You see what I'm saying? In more ways than one, you know what I'm saying? That kind of took the war, and what America was doing in there, we still don't know. And why was they going in there talking about some commie? We don't know. They shouldn't have been in there at all or even got involved in the first place. You know what I'm saying? But she's up here talking about a civil war at one point, talking about there will be bloodshed. Walter said, you know what I'm saying, apparently referring to the misconduct remarks when Trump warned of the criminal, the discrimination, I guess, of the audio introducing industry, which he described as a bloodbath. Nobody have time to be worrying about Miss Waters and her fears because If you chumped it up, what do you expect? It's as simple as that. If you chump it out, what do you expect? You expect peace and love. Hmm? This black woman of the talking about Maxine Waters, her name is Maxine Waters up. They're doing foolishness. Right along with them. There's a lot of black people that are helping these people to do what they do. It's gonna be a sad day when they wake up. You know what I'm saying? It's a sad day when people wake up. You see Mayor Eric Adams announced 16.2% pay increase and a bonus. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. All kind of goody two shoes. We see Ukraine war live. We see Kiev's fires U.S. weapons inside Russia, and Zelensky accused China. You know, it's very sad to see that we allow these people to really manipulate our mentality into thinking that these wars and these different things that they do has any justification in life and it's gonna bring us any safer to any result. If Russia decides to go rogue and shoot nuclear weapons because the creep Joe Biden administration, NATO, and many demon Democrats and crooked Republicans that will only take as well, probably independents as well, and many other political groups have allowed this to be something that is of reality. But if Putin goes rogue and shoots nuclear weapons, how did it make us any less safe or any safer? Same thing we see in the Gaza Strip. Same thing we see on African people in Sudan and Ethiopia. And many parts of Africa where black people have been oppressed for many years behind these colonialisms and these isms and the schism, totalitarianism, fascism, and all type of bullshit that's going on in our governments and our governments across the world. The world must start to clean it up. It doesn't matter whether they have guns, bombs, and ammunition. What good is that if you're being slowly and coercively led like a lamb right to the slaughter? That doesn't leave you much room for anything else but to live it out, as they would say. Isn't it so? But in the process of that, there will be contingency plans. Like I told a guy years ago, before anybody knew about this was even going to happen, I told him to watch that. You know what I'm saying? Watch that, because they're like dabbling in disease and doo-doo. You know what I'm saying? This is why Funk Foxy, the Killer Weasel, is trying to scream out of it, but he was censoring people. And whenever a race of people ever censor people who you claim is being attacked and is going to get hit by a deadly disease that you say is coming. But when we look around, we didn't see that in evidence in itself. We only saw the evidence in which was concocted by your plan to say there is one and this is how we're going to do this in order to swing it into them. So we know full well that a lot of this that happened is orchestrated all the way down the board to the Donald Trump and talking about 34 counts of misconduct when it comes to election fraud money, that he wasn't even a president. He was campaigning or whatever, and say that he used campaign funds. Campaign funds don't lead to a felony conviction of a standing president, you know what I'm saying, who was cheated out of his election and using as a scapegoat in order to make the demon Democrats look so good while they do so much evil and have now put our country at the stake of even a nuclear war. You know what I'm saying? Same thing they did the last time, I believe, with John F. Kennedy, how we got to that point. You know what I'm saying? So we know for well that a lot of bullshit that's going on is still based on their understanding that they feel that they rule the world and nobody else can say anything except shut the fuck up and watch us fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? Even when it comes to the Gaza Strip, Ethiopia, Sudan, South Africa, and many other countries in the country and the continent of Africa needs to start to clean out the shop. You know what I'm saying? And really look into the fact of whatever religion or whatever group that you're following is 100% and there is no flaws in the matter to keep. Because you must understand that everything has a flaws if it's not real and full of the context or the texture or the strength or the power, the glory that would make it so. You know what I'm saying? And it's only based on some sing and dance and sing, and then making you believe that something is floating there and rolling there, and you're looking up in the sky and all kinds of stuff saying it's there. And the only time that you will see it is the day you surely die. You know what I'm saying? So, many want to go to heaven, but, many don't want to die. You know what I'm saying? So there must be an understanding of of a dimension, of certain dimensions of our lives that we will see in itself, but it ain't based on you wasting your time here going to church talking about you're a good citizen and not reaping the very glory and the gold and the juices of this world. All you end up with is the juice of a sour lime. And then on top of the juice of the sour lime, you end up getting even more juice on top of that sour lime, to where many people have passed from their procedural garbage in itself. So this is Point Blank saying we need to start to investigate more, look harder, dig deep, and stay on this stronghold because we know that they're full of shit. You need to get over to the General Sarah Sultan Seti on his Patreon account, you know what I'm saying, and get your knowledge on and your schoolwork on based on understanding the scientific understanding of many things that have been going on our planet. So this is Point Blank saying farewell. One. We will meet again.